Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished. Chelsea won, Liverpool won. A game that had so many different subplots going into the game off the field. There was so much happening off the field last week involving these two clubs. And unfortunately, that was more interesting than the game itself. The game was, it was hard to watch at times. It was entertaining at times. It was also hard to watch at times. It was a game between two teams, one that doesn't know how to defend and the other one that doesn't know how to score. And you kind of just end up with a score line like that, 1-1. I mean, it's just you can see why these are two teams that are going to be fighting for top four and not much more right now. Now, maybe that will change when Chelsea bring in Caicedo and Lavia, if they bring in Caicedo and Lavia. But the fact is that at the moment, the way that these two teams are very much a work in progress at the moment. But yeah, it was a game that will dominate the headlines. But cancelled out goals for both these two teams. But right at the start, I think the team selections were very interesting. From Liverpool's point of view, they went with the 4-3-3, but they didn't pick an out-and-out defensive midfielders. Basically, Alexis McAllister was playing as the sole CDM, and that just didn't work. It at all times, Liverpool looked like, a bag that was about to burst. It almost looked like that. Like, all it needed was like a pinprick, somebody to poke a hole in it, and then it would just burst. And it felt like that. And at the start, Chelsea's back three were very, very disorganized. I think maybe because Pochettino probably thought that Colwill was good enough to mark Salah, but he couldn't do it. So he needed support from Chilwell, and Chilwell wasn't really tracking back enough in the first 15-20 minutes. And so Salah pretty much had the freedom of Chelsea to do whatever he wanted. And that's how the goal came for Liverpool. Basically, Alexander-Arnold picks out a beautiful, McAllister picks out a beautiful pass to Salah, and that's because Chilwell's out of position. And then on the other side, Reece James is also a little bit out, he's tracking Luis Diaz, but he completely loses him. And so Salah puts in a beautiful pass. That pass on Salah is brilliant, by the way. Watch that again, because that is such an exquisite pass to find Luis Diaz. And it's a great run from Diaz, helped by both Chilwell and James not doing the defensive duties. And it's a good finish from Diaz, makes it 1-0, which should have been 2-0 technically, or which was 2-0 for about a few seconds, because Alexander-Arnold picked out Salah with a great pass. Again, that was because Chilwell was caught out of position there, and Colwill had no answer to do what to do with Salah, so he let him go through, and it's a good finish. Unfortunately, he was offside on that play, and so therefore that was cancelled out. So it is 1-0. But I think after that second goal, I think, almost galvanized Chelsea a bit, because then they started being a little bit more confident, started getting a bit more passing going. They started being a little bit more defensively organized. And once they did that, Liverpool were obviously going to struggle because they didn't have the defensive numbers to kind of cope with Chelsea. And all Chelsea had to do was figure out how they could stop Liverpool from attacking and then exploit Liverpool's issues in defense and midfield. And they did that, and that's how sort of the second and that's how Chelsea's goal came, where basically it was not well defended. It ended up as a corner. The corner, of course, from Enzo Fernandez was blocked out. The ball comes back in again because they don't have a CDM, so everybody kind of pushes up at the same time. There's nobody really having that defensive awareness, and it's just Disasi steals in, goes in, and finishes. And here's the thing: Disasi's finish was actually a bit scuffed, but it was a scuff that actually helped him score the goal. Because had he got a clean connection, I think Alisson would have probably saved it, because the way that he's positioning, Alisson's positioning was quite good for a shot that was going to be well connected. But because it was scuffed, it actually went on the other side, and so therefore that's what got Alisson out. Sometimes something that's not so clear cut actually becomes an advantage, and in this case it was, which should have been 2-1 to Chelsea. Right after, not so long after, again, they turned over possession very, very quickly. Everybody caught off field. The ball comes out to Chilwell, and he finishes it off. But unfortunately, he is caught offside as well. So the game and took away one for each, and it stayed 1-1. And then the second half, I think Chelsea dominated it. But again, the issues of goal scoring are well known. So they're going to struggle, and as long as they struggle to score goals, no matter who they add, that's going to be a problem. No matter who they bring in midfield, the real issue is in goal scoring. Unless it is all that, they won't be able to progress much further than where they are already right now. So that is the issue. But ultimately, I think Chelsea probably deserved to win the game, but they didn't do enough to win it either. So you could probably say draw is a fair result. Liverpool would be disappointed with how they approached the game, particularly after dominating this opening 20-25 minutes. Just kind of gave away, and that's because they lost that midfield battle. Enzo Fernandez ran the show once. I think after the first 20-25 minutes, when Chelsea finally got the hang of what Liverpool were trying to do and nullified them, I think Chelsea's midfield just dominated. Enzo Fernandez just ran the show. for them, and he probably should have had an assist at some point. That there's a couple of good chances that were not taken, but was well, he was man of the match, and I mean, I agree with that. He was man of the match. Really played very, very well, and they've got a class player. Liverpool, Chelsea have spent a lot of money, but they've got some. At least they've got some good players out of it. I mean, Enzo Fernandez seems like he's a very good player, maybe overpriced, but can't deny the quality. But it's that striking that's the issue. I think Raheem Sterling also looked good today. Had probably one of his best games for Chelsea. Was good, and again, it's the same problem with him as well, not being able to finish off chances, not being able to create that, have that end product, and that's something they need to work on. From Liverpool's point of view, I think this 4-3-3, I was going to say, even if Liverpool won, I would have said that 4-3-3 is unstable. That's not going to work against other teams. So they've got to figure a solution out. But it didn't work against Chelsea either. So they need to figure out a solution. If they're not going to get Caicedo, if they're not going to get Lavia, they need somebody else in there. Either CDM or probably another defender, but they need to get somebody in there who can just hold that midfield, because at the moment it's so easy. It was so easy to get past them. Yes, Liverpool will score lots of goals. You would think that they will score lots of goals, but the problem is, you can't keep winning games 4-3 and 3-2. At some point, you're going to have to find ways to win 1-0s and 2-1s, and I don't think Liverpool at the moment are built or set up to win those kind of close games. So that's something they'll need to look at. But I thought Alexander-Arnold looked good. Defensively and offensively, he had he was very good, which is kind of surprising to say, because you all talk about Alexander's defensive fallibilities, but actually he was pretty good defensively today. And he played as a right back. He didn't play in midfield. He played as a right back, and he still looked very good. So maybe that bodes well for them as well going forward as a team, and for him as a player particularly. He's had a couple of very difficult seasons defensively, so maybe this is the turning point for him to become the player that he promised once to be. But that's something, I think that's a conversation for another day. Mo Salah, finally not able to score on his opening day. I know normal always does, but he didn't this time. Had a goal, but got chalked off. That front three is, it will take some time to reach it, because then Firmino leaving is a big loss. I was surprised Gakpo played in midfield, because I think he looks very good in that false nine sort of striker role. So surprised he played as a midfielder, but I think it just shows Liverpool's lack of depth in that position, and he'll have to, and Klopp is going to have to figure that out. But McAllister and Szoboszlai both look good. Again, you have to keep in mind that they were probably playing out of position, but they look good in whatever they played. They look good. They showed why Liverpool bought them in. So that's something to build on, of course. But ultimately, a point probably well deserved. It's not a lot to talk about, because it's such a boring game in some ways. I mean, Liverpool-Chelsea games are always boring, to be honest. It was the first time they scored, and after we're lucky we got a goal. We got 2 goals. It's like a goal fest, because there's 4 consecutive 0-0 draws. So the fact that we got a 1-1 draw in some ways is probably a step up from that. But yeah, these kind of games, they are very boring. Anyway, right. And by the way, I'll just point this out as well, not related to the game, but also it was nice to see that Anthony Taylor started to give yellow cards for people doing this. I don't like people when they do this and try to get players get booked or get sent off. It was good that Anthony Taylor did that. He booked both men, and he did it for both sides. He did it for Nicholas Jackson, and he did it for McAllister. Perfect that he did that and got them both booked as well. So well done to Anthony Taylor for that. Kudos to him for that. Got to appreciate refs when they do the right thing. So absolutely perfect. And by the way, yes, Chelsea also had a VAR call go their way, which could have gone against them with the penalty shout, where Jackson had his arms like this. I've seen those given. If that was given as a penalty, it would not have been overturned. Let's just be clear on that. So I think it was kind of like VAR went with the ref's decision, where they went, okay, I don't give it. But it could have been a penalty. So Chelsea kind of may feel a bit lucky as well on that. But I think ultimately not giving a penalty was the right decision as well, because it wasn't like his arms were. I don't know why he was doing that, though. I mean, I had no idea why he was doing that when it was coming towards his chest, but nonetheless. Anyway, share your thoughts on the game. Put that in the comments. What did you think about the performances, the game, the result? What do you think about these two teams? Let me know, of course. I mean, we're all expecting Caicedo, Lavia to be presented at the start of the game, and we didn't get that. So that automatically brought the level down a bit, I think. Which would have been funny if Chelsea had done that. And they probably would have done that to play some mind games, but they couldn't get it over the line. So, so then that kind of took the anticipation down a bit as well. I think ultimately the atmosphere was a bit flat. But anyway, share your comments. Smash like if you enjoyed this video. Do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We just passed 370 subscribers, so let's try and hit 380 as well. Please help us with that. We always appreciate the support. I'm going to have a few more videos coming up today, so subscribe so you can get notified for that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.